Warning: railroad union strikes, diesel fuel shortages, Putin's nuclear war warnings, and what are the biggest fears and concerns of Americans right now? Is it possible food shortages? Is it a fear of a nuclear war threat from Russia or China? Or is it just trying to figure out how to get by week to week without running out of money and finding loans, lending, credit card, and other money solutions to help bridge the gap in budgets and get out of the deep inflationary rut of living paycheck to paycheck? Well, if money, income, and personal finance is your top concern, stick around because I have some very important information to share with you about that and possible solutions and ways to get money quickly if you need it in a hurry. So you're not going to want to miss that. And the latest developments from a recent Schiff podcast reveals a big worry that we have all been waiting to see happen and possibly a massive monetary devastation that is coming to fruition. Now, this money problem is bigger than the Fed. And if you recall from previous videos with commentary from billionaire Barry Sternlicht, you'll remember his opinions and speculation of just how bad Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve were going to tank our economy. Well, now the US dollar is on the line and folks holding US treasuries are about to get smacked right in the mouth. Economist Schiff warns the US dollar will crash and says we're going to default, and has noted that the US is in a much bigger fiscal mess than Great Britain, and with a much bigger debt problem. So the U.S. national debt is now about $31 trillion, and the government ran a $1.38 trillion budget deficit in the fiscal year 2022. So Schiff explained that the debt to GDP ratio in the U.S. is actually higher than 125%. So when factoring in state and local debt, the ratio balloons to 140%. So Peter said, we're in a much bigger fiscal mess than Great Britain. So selling pounds and buying dollars because you're worried that Britain has too much debt is pretty much like jumping from the frying pan into the fire. Schiff stressed that it is ridiculous that people bought U.S. treasuries as a safe haven, adding that it is also absurd to sell a country's currency due to debt problems and buy dollars when the U.S. has even more debt. So Schiff sees two possible ways the U.S. can default, and The Economist believes there's the honest way and the dishonest way. But either is a disaster if you own U.S. treasuries. So Schiff said the honest way is just to admit that we can't pay and we default. We restructure the debt and we tell our creditors. However, he believes that politicians do not have the integrity to do it, noting that they're going to take the coward's way out. They're going to print and they're going to try to inflate the debt away. It's crazy for anyone to believe that the Fed is going to succeed in reducing inflation back down to 2%, as it just can't succeed. So he further cautioned that the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, so the problem just gets bigger. Prepare now for a massive financial crisis and a severe recession. Now that the dollar is weakening, future trade deficit will widen, causing the dollar to fall further. So if money, income, and personal finance is your top concern, and you're looking for ways to get cash, possibly restructure your own debts, and financially prepare you and your family before this predicted economic crisis and deep recession really starts to take hold, then click the link in the description. I'm sharing with you all some very important information and possible solutions and ways you can get access to up to $10,000 in as little as 24 hours if you, your family, your business, or anyone you know is in need. So please be kind and share the link so others can also be informed of this possible money savings opportunity. Now is probably no better time than ever to get your finances and budget in check. So after this video, click the link in the description if you're in need of up to $10,000 in as quick as 24 hours. Now, I am not sponsored nor paid to promote or affiliated with this company in any way. And it is just something I came across that I wanted to share that I thought might be helpful to some who may be strapped for cash, burning through savings, and perhaps lower in rankings when it comes to good credit, or maybe even you have bad credit. So avoid possible food shortages, late payments, possible eviction, foreclosure, auto repossession, all the things that just keep placing us all further and further behind and preventing us from getting ahead. So the latest from the Railroad Workers Union is a disturbing headline from CNBC. A second railroad union votes down labor deal needed to avoid nationwide strike. So the Brotherhood of Railroad Signalmen voted down a national tentative agreement coordinated between unions, freight rail companies, and the Biden administration. More than 60% of union members' ballots voted not to ratify, making BRS the second rail union to reject the terms of the deal. And with the highest participation in a vote in the union's history. A rail strike could cripple the U.S. supply chain and economy even worse than it already is, and could occur as early as November 19th. Perhaps we will see a strong push for a resolution before midterms, but only time will tell. A railroad strike and stopping all rail freight and lots of commuter rail transportation would be a huge devastation to our economy. Folks who had no idea how the rail freight lines affected them and their lives and ability to go to work and earn an income would find out very quickly just how important these contract negotiations are. The railroads have estimated that a rail strike could cost the economy $2 billion per day. And Union Pacific CEO Lance Fritz told CNBC during an interview last Thursday that they've got some negotiations to do with the union. Simply put, Class 1 railway freight is in limbo, and I hope for all our sake that they can come to an amicable agreement sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, the U.S. diesel crisis is spreading along the East Coast. We last heard about a possible diesel fuel shortage along the East Coast earlier this year towards the end of spring and heading into summer. Well, apparently we're still not out of the woods just yet. So according to Bloomberg, the diesel shortage that had the White House on edge last week is spreading from the Northeast to the Southeast, prompting at least one supplier to initiate emergency protocols. Now, according to a note from customers, fuel supplier Mansfield Energy is now requiring a 72-hour notice for deliveries to secure fuel and freight. They said because conditions are rapidly developing. And in areas that are tightest, fuel prices are running 30 to 80 cents higher than the market average, according to Mansfield. And they said that Tennessee is seeing particularly acute challenges. And at times, carriers are having to visit multiple terminals to find supply, which delays deliveries and strains local trucking capacity. So diesel inventories nationwide are at their lowest seasonal levels ever heading into winter. And some areas in the Northeast have already started rationing fuel. So fill up while you can, folks. The shortage is almost certain to drive up prices for the heating and trucking fuel, further straining household budgets. Bloomberg does state that supplies are on the way, but not fast enough. The Colonial Pipeline, the main source of supply for Southeast markets, recently became fully booked to move diesel, heating oil, and jet fuel. And according to the latest pipeline schedule, the first full cycle will not hit Atlanta until November 3rd, then won't reach the New York Harbor area until a week after that. And although New York is set to receive several overseas cargoes, they won't arrive until the end of this month. Can we ever catch a break? Will things ever go back to normal? Well, from the looks of it, I don't think it will happen anytime soon. As Euronews, along with several other news outlets reporting, Russia notifies U.S. of planned nuclear drills. So Russia has notified the United States about its plans to carry out its planned annual exercises of its nuclear forces. And Moscow has been employing nuclear warnings and threats since the start of its invasion of Ukraine in February. According to Euronews.com, the U.S. said it expects Russia to carry out test launches of missiles during its annual exercises of its strategic nuclear forces, noting in the past it has fired intercontinental ballistic missiles. U.S. officials say Russia is obligated under the new START treaty to provide advance notification of such missile launches. These drills represent a potential challenge to the U.S. and its allies, as Russian President Vladimir Putin has previously threatened to use nuclear weapons to defend Russia amid its ongoing aggression against Ukraine. So perhaps this can provide some comfort to us all, as Western officials have expressed confidence in their ability to discern the difference between a Russian drill and any move by Putin to act on his nuclear threats. So I'm going to continue to keep this and all the other top stories on my radar and report back as quickly and as often as possible with news, updates, and helpful information to you all. So make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications so you don't miss these new video updates. And remember to click the link in the description if you or someone you know could use up to $10,000, 10 grand right now to help possibly pay some overdue bills, buy food, groceries, preps, consolidate higher interest debt, or just build up a savings cushion and safety net for the uncertain financial emergency or opportunity that tomorrow is sure to bring. And check out this video and the economic finance and money playlist. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on notifications. You guys take care. Be safe. I'll see you real soon. Bye.